Hey friends, I wanted to make a video on Narcissistic Personality Disorder or narcissism or NPD. A lot of people get narcissism and psychopathy and sociopathy behaviors and tendencies and diagnosis stuff mixed in together, but they are separate. Sociopathy and sociopaths are typically kind of the same thing that fall under antisocial personality disorder. There is an argument that they are different, and the argument is that psychopaths are born and sociopaths are created because a product of their environment. But we're talking about narcissistic personality disorder. So I'm going to go over kind of the DSM-5, which is the diagnostic manual for the United States for diagnosing mental health disorders. I'll kind of go over the 9 signs and symptoms that is in the DSM-5. I think you have to have 5 out of 9 in order to be technically diagnosed by a clinician. I'm not a clinician. I do have my bachelor's in social work, but I have no means to diagnose people, but I just want to inform people about this disorder because it can be very not great. I have my laptop here, so I'm going to go over the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder that is in the DSM-5. I don't have my DSM-5 yet, but I will be ordering it. It's just like $140, but I have to have it for grad school, so I'll be ordering that soon. But I'll just read kind of what it says and then we'll kind of go over it. It says the definition of NPD states that it comprises of a consistent manner of grandiosity, a continuous desire for admiration, along with a lack of empathy. It starts in early adulthood and occurs in a range of situations as signified by the existence of any of the 5 next to the 9 standards. A grandiose logic of self-importance, so this means where they think that they are truly like great and they're wonderful, they're beautiful, they're better than everybody. So that's like an overinflated sense of self. Number 2, a fixation with fantasies of infinite success, control, brilliance, beauty, or idyllic love. It's kind of similar to grandiosity, but it's a little bit different where they believe in their head that they control everything. Narcissists are extreme perfectionists and the world isn't perfect, so it's an ever-evolving problem with narcissists where they try to control everything, but then they are disappointed because they can't control everything because the world's not perfect, and that turns into narcissistic rage, which we can talk about later. But that's kind of where they believe like they're so successful, they're perfect, they're wonderful, they are the best. Number 3, a belief that they are extraordinary or exceptional and can only be understood by or should connect with other extraordinary or important people or institutions. This is where they truly believe, like they may believe that they're better than homeless people and other people in general. So maybe if someone works at a fast food place and they work for a company, or if they don't have to work because they have money, they truly believe that they should only associate with people who are rich or who are to their status, and anybody below them and whatever they believe is their status is less than or unimportant or not worth their time because they're great and they should only be with great people who they deem great. Number 4 is a desire of unwarranted admiration. So this is where they are constantly thinking that they should be admired and that they should be praised for whatever they do. This kind of leads into communal narcissists, which is kind of where they do things for the community. So they may donate, they may give money to charities, they may volunteer at charities or at shelters, or with homeless people they may give money, and they believe they should be admired for that. They believe that they need to get all the attention, and they're the type of person who would donate a lot of money to a school and then make sure their name is on that school. Or they are the type of person who donates money at a dog shelter and records themselves bringing the money to the dog shelter and saying, hey, look at me, I'm volunteering, I'm a good person, I'm so kind, I'm providing things, I need to be admired because I'm doing great things in the community. But really it's about that narcissistic supply. Number 5 is a sense of entitlement, which all that really stems down to meaning is that they believe they should get special treatment. They believe that their grandiosity, their greatness, their perfection, their brilliance should be treated at the high standard that they believe that they should get. So they should get special treatment because they are so great. Number 6 is interpersonally oppressive behavior. So this is where bullying and degrading and demeaning comes into play. They end up oppressing people who are different than them or they see as less than. Number 7 is a lack of or no empathy. And this is basically where they cannot comprehend other people's emotions and cannot understand why they may be feeling the way that they do. This is really prevalent in narcissists and kind of a key factor to where if you can tell someone is a narcissist or not, because basically what they'll do is they'll treat you really badly and nastily and be aggressive and spread rumors about you or be just gross, and then they can't understand why you would be upset, or they can't understand why you would be angry, and they abuse you and then cannot understand why you think that's abuse. So number 8 is a resentment of other people or a conviction that others are resentful of them. So this is where they become very resentful and angry towards one person, or if they think someone else has resentment towards them, then they're going to attack that person and degrade them. From what I've studied and researched and seen, the biggest thing that creates narcissists or that gets under narcissists' skin is when they're insecure, and that's what narcissism really stems from, is them being so insecure within themselves and so self-loathing and hating of themselves that they put this grandiose fake persona. They wear so many masks that they protect themselves, and it's really one big coping mechanism. They don't want anybody to get close to them. Narcissists typically have been abandoned in some way or another as a child, and so they grow up to be people who don't let people get close to them, but then they do like people close to them because then they can get a supply from them. So they'll suck them in, like they'll hoover them back in, and then they'll attack, and then whenever someone leaves, then it kind of sets off and they have to bait you, which is where they constantly prod and poke and try to get you to come back in whatever way, react negative or positive, so they can get that supply where you're providing them attention in whatever way possible, because they don't care if it's positive or negative, because they don't really feel things in the same way that we do. It's still a good thing for them to get attention, because to them it's gaining power over you when you do react. So the last one is a display of egotistical and conceited behaviors or attitudes. So this is where they're really self-absorbed or full of themselves and only can think of themselves and has no regard for other human beings, and that's a very scary thing. That's kind of the symptoms of a narcissist, which there are technically 4, if not way more, different types of narcissists, but there's also narcissists who kind of meet all of the requirements, just not as severe in each type. But let's talk about what kind of creates the narcissist to begin with. From the research I have found, there are 2 different things that may cause a child to become a narcissist. Because children cannot be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. They have to be an adult, and it has to be through a series of time for them to show these patterns in order to get properly diagnosed. But typically it's a child who is severely neglected, abused, abandoned, or degraded, where the parents are constantly nagging on them, constantly telling them that they're not good enough, constantly holding things from them, constantly making them feel less than. Then they grow up thinking that they're this horrible, awful person, and they have no self-esteem, and so everyone around them becomes a problem, and they have to protect themselves by being overly great and overly exaggerated with themselves, and that's kind of a coping mechanism that they've developed, and that's how they become narcissists. Or the complete opposite, where they had a set of parents who basically spoiled their child rotten and made them think that they were on a pedestal and they were better than everybody, and they were very grandiose and they got everything they wanted, and their parents told them how wonderful and great they are and how much better they are than everyone, and they grow up to be this grandiose person who truly thinks in their head that they're better than everybody because they grew up thinking that. And that's kind of the 2 different types. So it's either too much praising and too much, oh, you're great, I'll give you everything you want, you deserve everything, you're perfect, or abandonment and abusive behavior and toxic environments that they grew up in. So that's kind of the 2 main ideas or theories that creates a narcissist. If you go through either childhoods, it doesn't mean you're automatically going to become a narcissist. And typically there's a lot of studies that have shown that celebrities or people who are put on higher pedestals and kind of seen as idols or gods have more narcissistic tendencies or traits. Doesn't mean they have the disorder, but they have more traits or tendencies than normal everyday people. And that could just be because of the attention that they get, and it kind of feeds that ego. And if you don't keep your ego in check, you can become very narcissistic and selfish and think that you're great and you're wonderful and you're the most perfect person in the world and you deserve the best things, and you're only going to associate with celebrities and you're only going to get the best bags, and you become very materialistic. You lose what's important in life, and you lose that respect and empathy for humanity, which is so important as humans to have. There are a lot of people who only think of men as narcissists, and they think that most people who deal with narcissists are in a husband and wife relationship, and the husband is the narcissistic, egotistical a-hole, and then the wife is the poor little victim. However, men and women can both be narcissistic. The traits are kind of seen a little bit differently, and men, they typically are more of the malignant narcissist. So I'll kind of give you an idea of what that means. So a malignant narcissist is someone who's probably the most dangerous narcissist that there are out there, because they're the ones who really lack almost any amount of empathy for human beings, and they kind of get a kick out of being nasty or mean, and they really just do not care about who they hurt, as long as they get to the top, as long as they get what they are seeking or what they want or what they need. So this is the kind of person who blames everybody for all of their problems. This is the kind of person, man or woman, who just cannot have any form of criticism, positive or negative. They will literally lose it. This is the person who truly thinks that they are superior and should be treated that way. This is someone who just has no ability to self-regulate whatsoever. They blow up on the drop of a hat. They are extremely manipulative. They do not apologize and have no interest in apologizing unless it's going to benefit them, and unless you are someone who is the narcissistic supply that they're gaining from. And this is someone who truly just has little guilt for anything that they do, and that's kind of a big thing with narcissists. And if you think about guilt, it's something that kind of makes us feel like, I don't want to do that again. It's a really yucky feeling. It makes us feel kind of bad. It's what helps us not commit crimes and not cheat on our spouses and not steal and not be a crappy person, because we have a conscience in the back of our head telling us don't do that, or oh, if we do get caught, that's scary and that's an anxiety-ridden feeling and that's not a good feeling. And a malignant narcissist kind of doesn't really have that guilt or that conscience in the back of their head. So they're pretty close to a psychopath, but they still do have some amount of feelings, and they still do feel things. They just have a little amount of feeling in the regard of other people, if that makes sense. These are the people who often break laws, who will make up rumors and slander and defame someone. These are the people who are extremely aggressive, and men are typically much more physically aggressive when they are narcissists compared to women, who are typically extremely self-conscious, but also believes like they are the most beautiful, wonderful woman who deserves to be put on this pedestal and praised, and they think that they are just wonderful women, and they are extremely vain. They are extremely materialistic people, and women typically are extremely jealous and insecure compared to men when they're narcissistic. So if they see a woman who is doing better than them in work, they may start to steal clients from them, or they may start to make complaints about them, or they may start to sabotage them and try to get above them because they're feeling inferior to this other woman, or this woman they find beautiful or attractive. They may start to copy them or mimic them, or try to hurt them in some way so that they can feel superior to that person who they feel inferior to. Women who are narcissists are typically also someone who thinks that they are perpetual victims. They will make their life the biggest sad sob story. They will be the biggest victim that you've ever heard. Anything that ever happens to them, they cannot take any responsibility for it. They will continuously make it about, oh, poor me, or oh, my life is so hard, and they cannot take any responsibility for their own actions. And they also really like to bully other people they're intimidated by. So this looks like kind of the same thing that I was talking about. Whenever they think a woman is more beautiful than them, they may kind of start to make remarks about them like, oh, you've kind of gained some weight. Doesn't that shirt look a little tight on you? Or they may go to that person's spouse and spread lies about them, like, oh, I've heard that they have an STD. They really soak up drama and they kind of like creating drama and chaos. So especially if they're feeling inferior to a woman or jealous of that woman, they're going to really try to defame their character or make them look less than, or attack them or bully them or call them names, and do like backhanded comments towards them and try to degrade that woman's self-esteem so that they can feel better about themselves. And they think that everything that they've been through is harder than anything anyone else has ever been through, even if that's not true. So that's kind of a general overview of what narcissists are, what to look out for, some signs and symptoms, difference between men and women. Let's say that you encounter a narcissist one way or another, whether that be it's your spouse, your mom, your neighbor, your coworker, someone online, anybody that you encounter, and you've found that a narcissist has leached onto you and you cannot get them to leave no matter what you've tried. You have tried to expose them because maybe you became educated on what a narcissist is, and so you shine light on that. Guess what's going to most likely happen? They are going to attack you, and they are going to kind of hit you below the belt. They're going to lie about you. They're going to defame you. They're going to slander you. They're going to try to hurt you in whatever way possible and get under your skin, so that whenever you react, whenever you protect yourself, whenever you rightfully so respond in an appropriate human reaction when you're not expecting something, they're going to use that to kind of sit back while you're yelling, while you're ranting, while you're raving. They're going to be like, wow, you look pretty crazy. You're looking like a narcissist, or you're really just unstable, and I don't know what's wrong with you. And it's going to be a form of gaslighting. So a lot of people use the word gaslight and narcissist and all these dinger words in 2021, but that is like the definition of gaslighting, is whenever someone has done something to you and you react to them in a way that is kind of normal for if like they're lying about you or if they're attacking you, and you try to defend yourself or try to attack back or try to prove that that's not true, and then they basically deny anything that you're saying, and they say that you're crazy and make you question your own reality or question your own beliefs, or maybe, am I the narcissist, or am I the wrong person, or did I cause this? And it's that really disgusting feeling of, am I the crazy one here? Am I the bad one here? Did I do something wrong? Do I deserve this? And that's like the true definition of gaslighting. So I do not recommend to react. And if you do have to respond, or if you do have to live with this person or encounter them, the biggest thing is to respond instead of react. So you being able to have mindfulness coping skills, where you are doing deep breathing exercises, where you're practicing yoga, where you're practicing self-control and stop, think, go type of coping skills, where in the moment, if you encounter something or if you see something that causes that, ooh, that doesn't feel good, I don't like that, that hurts my feelings, that makes me feel mad, you're lying about me, you're twisting my words. So the first thing you don't do is react and instantly fight back and instantly start yelling and instantly lose control of your body. You want to instead calm yourself down, think critically, remind yourself that whatever they're doing to you is not about you. Whatever they're saying about you is typically a reflection of themselves. So if they're blaming you for things, know that it's probably their biggest insecurity or biggest anxiety, or something that they have done themselves, and they're trying to reflect it onto you as a coping mechanism, and it's not your fault. So the biggest thing you can do to get a narcissist to leave you alone is to not respond. Do not react. They call it the gray rock method, but really what that means is no matter what they do, do not respond. Or if it's too hard for you not to completely cut off cold turkey, start pulling back. Start maybe not reacting or responding a few times, and then maybe go to once a week, and then maybe slowly stop answering phone calls or emails, or maybe slowly stop looking at what they're saying about you. And eventually, you're gonna cut them off. Basically, the idea is to be a gray rock in a bed of rocks that are also gray, and you're just gonna blend in, and you're gonna sit, and you're not gonna give them that supply that they're looking for. So remember, a supply is whatever you are doing, negative or positive, to give them attention and validation and make them feel like they have power and control over you, because that's what they want. So when you're feeding that supply, when you're reacting, when you're denying accusations that you know aren't true, that everyone around you knows aren't true, it starts to make you on the outside look like maybe you're the unstable and maybe you're the crazy one. So instead of trying to defend and trying to respond and trying to get back at them, the best thing you can do is blend in, quit feeding them that supply, relax, do some coping skills, build yourself up, and let them do whatever they want to do. Eventually, they're going to get bored of you. They're going to need that supply elsewhere, so they will start to attack somebody else. They will leech onto somebody else. They will find something else to do out, and they'll move on. I will warn you, the biggest thing about the gray rock method that really, really sucks sometimes is, I said this word earlier, is they're going to try to bait you. And what that means is exactly what it sounds like. So if you think about a fishing pole with some bait on the end of it, they're going to toss something out into the pond, and they're going to reel slowly, and they're going to try to bait you in. So this is the time when you're going to see the grossest things possible. You're going to see some of the nastiest accusations. You're going to see them attacking your family, your friends. You're going to see them starting to say things about you that are so untrue that it's ridiculous, but it's painful. They're going to try to figure out, what do I know about this person that's going to set them off? So if you have a trauma that they are aware of, if you have a recent event that has caused a lot of hurt, if you are insecure about something and you've mentioned it, they're going to pick that and they're going to throw it at you. They're going to go on a smear campaign basically about you. What that smear campaign looks like is they're going to try to destroy your reputation, destroy your credibility. They're going to try to make you look like the most horrific, nastiest, evil person possible in whatever means possible. So whether that means consistently lying, manipulating, gaslighting, attacking, providing fake evidence, creating horrific fake stories, or trying to victimize themselves against you, that is all being done solely to get a reaction or a response from you. They're hoping that when they keep baiting, keep throwing that fishing pole out, that you're gonna catch it. You're gonna latch onto that bait, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna rip you out of that pond or that water, and they're going to start bashing you, because once you are ripped out, odds are you're gonna react. And it's not going to be pretty because you've been poked and prodded. They tell you, do not poke the sleeping bear. You keep poking that bear, poking, poking. What's going to happen? That bear's going to get up and it's going to bite your ass. You're going to look like the crazy one. You're going to be the one yelling. You're going to be the one fuming. You're going to be the one so upset. And that narcissist is going to sit there and just look at you and think you're crazy. And look at you go. Wow, you're just so unstable. Look at you. Wow. And they're going to use your reaction, your response, you're yelling, you're crying, whatever, against you. And that's all gonna start back up again. So then they're gonna continue to use this whole cycle of abuse over and over and over again, because you are supplying that narcissist. So the best thing to do, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter how much they prod and poke and try to incite something from you, is to just let them be. Let them say what they want to say about you. Let them do what they want to do about you. And just remind yourself, this is not about me. This is about them. Because they're insecure. They have the problem. Whatever they're saying about me is a reflection of themselves. And they have no insight in themselves. So you cannot expose a narcissist to a narcissist. They do not believe you. They truly think they are the victims in this situation. They have no capacity to understand that they are the problem. So they're going to deflect and push and make you think you're the one that's the problem, and you're not. That's what a narcissist is and what they do, and that's what they're good at, and that's what they enjoy, and it's a game to them. You are just a piece in their game. Do not become a piece. Pull that damn piece out and throw it into the ocean. Throw it into that bed of rocks. Become a gray rock. Let them see that you are not going to have them gain control or power over you, and they are eventually going to pull back and get bored of you and leave you alone. I hope that this helps somebody out there, because I know how it feels to be smear campaigned and attacked and prodded and poked. But the biggest thing I can tell you is to do that gray rock method, and it does work. But I almost forgot, I just want to put this out there. A lot of us who've experienced any type of narcissism in our lives from other people, we end up starting to feel guilty and start to feel bad for them, or start to feel maybe we're the problems. And it's okay to feel empathy or guilt for somebody and feel sorry for them, because you know that they're seriously so insecure and just so hateful of themselves, and they probably did have a hard childhood, or they probably went through something rough that made them be that way. But your empathy for that human being does not give them the excuse to abuse you, and it does not give them the excuse to do what they've done to you. And you have to hold people accountable and cut people like that out of your life, because it's not fair to you to constantly receive abuse and to allow them to gain that control over you, because they are not thinking about your feelings and emotions and how you feel in this situation. They are literally incapable of that. So just remember that whenever you start to feel guilty for them, or if you start to learn about narcissists and how they're made, it's okay to feel empathy for them. In fact, that's human to understand, like, oh, I kind of understand why they are that way. Just because you understand that does not mean it gives them an excuse to be that way. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back later. I'm hoping to have a TikTok legging video soon. I'm just waiting for the 2 last pairs to come in. They're just taking forever. They were supposed to arrive today and they didn't, so that's why I'm filming this. Thank you so much for watching. May all your stars align, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.